Welcome to Dan ARG YouTube. Emmanuel Agbogun say na good thing say the Edo State Governor Godwin Obasek ban Okaighele from Edo State. He say but the way the Edo State Governor take do am no good. Make I leave you now with Emmanuel make you for know the reason why he say the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki no handle the matter well.
Yes, my conscious Edo people across the globe. I remain no other person than yours, noble right activist, comrade I, Bogu Emmanuel. But the truth be said, government, they do their own. We will be citizens. We still get our own to do. So if you're watching me and you are listening and hearing what we are currently saying on social media this hour, I just want you to do us a favor by typing yes, because I've been trying to advance my broadcast quality and it's been issues. So if you're currently watching me and you can hear me, please indicate. If you're watching me and you can hear me, please and please and please and please indicate, please. We're over 30 persons watching, and if you're watching me and you can hear me, please and please. You guys have to tell me something. But from what I just checked on the background, I think the voice is nice. But I want to hear from those of you who are not here, who are not close to me. I want to be very sure that what I'm saying is, properly heard by everyone before we proceed. So if you're just joining us, there's a whole lot you are going to be saying today. Everybody knows I'm an opposition to this government, even if I have friends in the government, because I'm an Edo son, and obviously there's no way out of 2 million people, and over 200,000 people who are supporters of the government of the day, that I will not have friends, not to talk about enemies also. So my friends are also in this government, and I believe as a society that is practicing democracy, our voice as opposition must be heard, even if the organized opposition that we all know, the APC, that I share some level of participatory activities with. I believe we should as a people be also giving the listening consent of we the opposition. However, we are not here for a classroom discussion, but rather we are here for a discussion that affects us as Edo people. And when you say Edo people, we are from 18 local governments. And in that 18 local governments, we have a a senatorial district, with 5 local governments. We have a senatorial district with 6 local governments. And we that are of the majority tribe in Edo, being the Benin, we also have 7 local governments. So the much we are talking now, I want to believe that with the strength and voice of those who are listening to us, we can actually confirm that the news of Okaighele ship, the ban on Okaighele ship, is no longer a news. But most people don't understand that there's a vacuum, and not until when those of us who you all know as stakeholders, come out to speak on our point of view. Very many persons I know are waiting to see what the first man will say, knowing fully well that there's an opinion, that is controversial on this decision that the Edo State government has carried out. For some of us, it's a right direction, but with a wrong approach. I am not sentimental here. If you are my follower, you should know me by now, that I don't care who is involved. I say the way I feel it should be seen, and life moves on. But everybody should understand that within our laws, we are firstly being governed by a governor that talks about the constitutionality of our way of life, of respect for law, following the dictates of law. And you agree with me that when it has to do with the Edo South, law reformation or amendment or law formulation or law making, it comes from various perspectives. It is not just something that would affect the totality of the 11 left local government that is not, domiciled in Edo South. Now, the governor has banned Okaighele. Banning Okaighele in Edo State is something that is applicable to just 7 local governments. And these 7 local governments, they have their way of life, they have their customs, they have their traditions. We all know that basically, in most rural settlements, particularly from where I come from, my family, the Aigbogun family in Isi, in Otobaye quarters, we have our own ancestral lands. I don't think even if an Okaighele is appointed in my village, the Okaighele will encroach into my great-great-grandfather's land, Imari Aigbogun. I don't think anybody would encroach into that our land. But the truth be said, from what we are currently seeing, there is a vacuum. The governor, from this is recent resolution by amending the PPP law that placed a ban on Okaighele, shows that there's a broad gap. And I'm surprised this is even coming at the brink of this issue of the Benin artifact. Now, when you look at what has been going on within a couple of weeks, and you see this direct approach, some of us who are opposition and who are also enlightened to an extent will not want to see it from the political angle. We want to look at it from the way of life, from the custom, norms, and tradition, and the intentions of the government. Now, the government has placed a ban on Okaighele ship, on CDA. What has happened to the Ohes? What has happened to the Enoges? What has happened to the Okaos? These are people also selling lands and also grabbing lands. For some of us, a minute please, we want to say that from the people, when it has to do with decision making that has to do with the suspension of Okaighele's, because that has not resolved the issue. If the governor would have come out yesterday to say that he's placing a complete overhaul on the administration of land and its sales, in Benin, some of us would have, really clapped for him. That he wants an overhaul, which we all need to put an end to this, will I call it land grabbing, extortion, discouragement of developers in the state. That is the issue. But that is far from it. And I'm going to be stating some facts here, but I'll just beg you give me a few minutes, please. While I'm taking these few minutes, because I want you to share this broadcast if you want Edo and Benin and our state to be, a global source of change that should serve as a reference point. I want you to share this broadcast. But just give me a few minutes anyway, because we are discussing for a while. We would be discussing for a while, because what the governor has just done is that the governor does not know that he has also empowered the criminals, to now trade without identity. And I'll be coming down to that extent in just a few minutes, because Edo is our own, and we believe that what should be done rightly. Because not because of the sentiment that I abide, it is because we want a better society for all of us. I know some of you who are looking at me this moment, see me wearing the Igbo traditional cap, will be saying, who is this Igbo man that wants to talk again? The truth about it is that it has come to a stage in our life where we come from doesn't matter. It is our way of life and what we do that matters. You agree with me that anybody who will see me wearing this cap should know that I'm having a passionate solidarity appeal, with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because he is a victim of circumstance. This was somebody who was going about his agitation and his programs peacefully, But when the Nigerian government took the military to his house to invade, nobody came out from government to condemn it. But now that he has been arrested, everybody is shouting, prosecute him, kill him, mob him, maim him, carry all sort of inhuman treatment against him. In fact, government has even been denying him of his legal rights, as the case may be. So any right-thinking man knows that I must not wear an IPOB uniform because government has prescribed it. But putting up an Igbo attire at a time which is an attire I barely wear shows that I'm solidarizing with something from that place. So it is now whether I'm solidarizing with pro-Brafians or anti-Brafians. But we have not heard about anti-Brafians. We are only hearing about Brafians who are agitating for a separation law to be given to them. So I wouldn't want to deviate from our point of discussion now, but I want to say some certain things that has to do with our subject of discussion for today. The issue of Okaighele ship that the governor has just placed a ban on, I don't think the governor is intending to resolve the generality of. I think the governor has taken the right decision to an extent that would change the menace. Now ask yourself, the true stakeholders that has to cut across from the side of the victims and from the side of the community that is always laying claims. Have the governor been able to balance this? Yeah, for some of us, I don't know what's going on with the viewing strength, but I know if you want this broadcast to be a success, I know very many people wouldn't want to give me the platform to preach the truth. You cannot be calling me at this time when you know obviously I am live and I'm talking a core issue that affect us. If your intentions are in that form, it's not in the right direction, because we are all expressing ourselves, and any right-thinking person who means well would want to listen to opposing views so that they know how to make amendments. That's my view. Now, this law that has been made, as I started earlier to say, is for the 7 local governments in Edo South. Now, they are making that law. Who are the stakeholders that took part, either as civil society, either as a traditional, or will I call it organization, or councils, as you have the Benin Traditional Council that mans the traditional existence of our people here in Edo State. So if all of these things are not properly done, it amounts to injustice. It amounts to, illegal law formulation, because that law, a law that is on very, very unpopular to Edo people, is a law that will not promote what we are doing. Now, the governor has done a law, and I want to believe from my findings that that's an executive bill, and that amendment was a proposal from the government. And the governor says that it is to mitigate the multiple complaints. Now, if you are doing that, what level did you keep most enoges that are still double selling people's land? What level did you keep those unhairs, those cows that are still selling people's land? Why just banish the Okaighele ship and the CDA? What now happens to the formal traditional representative strength of the people, the Odion ways and the rest? Why is the law not capturing their role, their duties? And in all of this formulation, is the Benin Traditional Council as a body, are they involved in this formulation? Even if very many people would disagree with so many issues within the Benin Traditional Council, which I'm also, a party to that disagreement to some extent, I want to ask, when you decide to push forward a better life for a people, won't you involve the generality of stakeholders involved? How can you make a law for people, particularly laws that talk about aboriginal inheritance and rights to land, ownership of land? You are not involving the stakeholders. In Edo State as of today, if there's any civil society organization championing the campaign against land grabbing in Edo State, you would mention Talakawa's parliament, you would mention Edo People's Advocacy Organization, you would mention Nigerian Bar Association. Now, in all of this move by the Edo State government, at a time when there was public hearing that has to do with, the law amendments when it comes to this PPP law that has been amended that the governor has quickly ascended to, you will agree with me that stakeholders were not put in the picture. Because if stakeholders were put in the picture, this vacuum that is to be created now would not be there. Now, somebody should ask me, what is that vacuum? That vacuum is one. You are now giving those same youths you call Okaighele, that you can hold them to a name. You are not giving them no address. Because what that implies is that if, for instance, my father has a 500 by 500 plot of land in my community, and you now say there's no CDA, there's no Okaighele, there's no traditional presence to land anymore, you will agree with me that what that implies is that the ownership of land now is vested on families and individuals. So if myself, as the last son of my father, sees that my father's son, who is the senior son, is selling all my father's property and squandering it, and I choose to say no, this cannot work. For me to fold my hands, I will also sell from it, and tomorrow my brother comes out to say he is the aboriginal son and takes me to court. What will now happen to those victims that have bought land under me? The law was not elaborate. The law was not specific. For me, I want to go by the findings I have reached within the last 24 hours that this news was brought to public demand. I was told that the palace summoned the totality of Okaighele's, who the governor also summoned prior to its election, and told them about the issue relating to the palace and the artifact. And the governor got angry, because if you hear about this amendment, for crying out loud, how popular is this bill, this amendment that has been passed, that it was not in the news when first reading was made. It was not in the news when second reading was made. It was not in the news when public hearing was also made. The only thing that is brought to the news is that this thing has been passed to law. And if you go around today in Benin City, the law is not popular. Because one would have expected that while the governor was doing that right decision, because whether you like it or not, allowing Okaighele to exist in Edo State is something like promoting criminality. Get it right. But when you are going about their removal on a wrong decision, or their banishment on a wrong decision, or in a wrong approach, you are further creating room for criminals to reorganize. And that is what some of us will not promote. Because, for instance, if you allow somebody who is an Okaighele, who has done Okaighele, who has sold land, you now banish him. Those land that he has sold in the communities that are not yet developed, those land that people have already bought, that they have not taken full possession over, what you are only doing now is that tomorrow some other persons will come up to say this is our father's land. They will resell that same land, because 80% of the lands that are proposed for development are currently being sold now, but the development will not occur immediately. Some people buy lands for 4 years and they keep it so that they can gather themselves through their means of livelihood to start up a foundation. After that foundation, they keep the land again for another 4 or 5 years to see how they can raise it up to lintel level. If all of these things are not properly looked into, you are still creating the same problem that we are trying to find a solution for. And for me, that bill, as far as I'm concerned, is a law in our society, but it cannot solve the problem that it is envisaging to solve. Because the basics of what we want is that we want a law that can eradicate the issue of land grabbing. So, for me, For me, we should devour our mind of sentiments and political bitterness and come down to the real issues. Because even the Benin Traditional Council, I also give them some blames here. Because you hear the monarch saying that anybody who is seen fighting over Benin lands, or who is seen double selling lands, or who is seen demolishing properties in Edo State and or in Benin City, that is an abominable act. But for crying out loud, government has demolished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even when that demolition or that subject of demolition is a subject of litigation in the court, what that means is that even when that matter is still going on in the court, government will still be demolishing. And when government is demolishing, what you will not see at the end of the day is that the Traditional Council itself will be mute. They wouldn't come out to take a position on that illegality that has happened. I can give you examples. But however, I don't want to go into examples so that people will not say he's talking from the side of politics. Because most of the demolitions that are questionable today in our society are vendetta demolition and political demolition. So when the Benin Traditional Council itself and its leadership is quiet, what that tells you is that on both sides of the divide, they are not doing what is expected of them. Now, I have seen where the Benin Traditional Council came out to say if anybody is reported to be doing the issue of a CDA, what the Ohe of Okoromi did, that was some 1 month ago, that triggered the tipper union to suspend developmental activities with the supply of sand, because sand is a key ingredient in the development of buildings and infrastructure. Once they suspended their activities there, it was only at that time the government responded. The Traditional Council, even to date, the Benin Traditional Council, even to date, is not saying any single thing as to that. Even where some of us know that there are petitions before them. Even some of us, when some of us know that there are complaints before the Benin Traditional Council. I have called people that are closer to the leadership of the council, which is our Reverend Monarch, but they don't take calls. Once they even know that it's from you, they just, they can even see the phone ringing there for as long as they don't take. So when they are not willing to also shift grounds, they are protecting their own, and government is also wanting to do their own and use it as a vendetta. Who will suffer? It is me and you that are the developers. It is me and you that are the investors. It is me and you that are the citizens. Because whether you like it or not, there's a law protecting the interests of the Traditional Council. The government itself is the institution that is bounded by law to preside over our territorial interests as Edo State. So if we are not balancing these things, there's a problem. Now, let me ask this simple question. You all will agree with me that I published the face of the Enogi of Obage Nevosa, who enjoys selling 1 mile by 1 mile, who enjoys using the proceeds of that is unlawful and unguided activities to own a car link, buy properties in choice states in and outside Nigeria. You will agree with me that not even a stroke of correction has been called upon that Enoge. Instead, what the Enoge does is that he's good at bringing police from Abuja. We all know his antecedents. He's good at bringing IRT, bringing top police to come and invade youths who are not even committing crime in their place of abode, which is the community. They put up allegations of kidnapping. They put on allegations of courtesan, but that is not the subject issue. In fact, in most cases, these Enoges, when they sell over these lands, they don't even build healthcare. They don't even build classroom blocks. They don't even build roads in their own community where they would also find a place to live. So So what is the problem? That is why some of us are of the opinion that intellectuals, I said it the last time I was talking from the mood. I said intellectuals must gather. We must sit down, disagree and agree on issues and come up with a template. What we are only doing is just playing, lip service to the core issues. Take it to the bank. I have just said it today, that what the government has further done is to give room for individuals. Before in the community, when a small boy wants to sell land and use money, he will have to go and be loyal to the Okaighele, so that there will not be any form of resistance to his client that he has sold the land to, so that the client can have easy access to develop such properties. Now, nobody will be restricting them. In as much as you are mighty, in as much as you are thick, in as much as you believe you have something, up of your chest, you can actually go and pull up a particular area in the community and tell somebody who wants to develop to come and start developing. And when the actual owner of that property comes, there will still be issues. Have that put an end to land grabbing? The answer is no. So what we expect is that why this law is being formulated, a governor like us who is a technocrat, by his profession, he should call in stakeholders. The question to ask, even why this law was being made, when the governor was about to set up the PPP law, he consulted with the Benin Traditional Council. As at today, this amendment, despite the huge challenges, is the Benin Traditional Council in consensus with them with this amendment? Were they even consulted as a traditional entity that superintends over the traditional existence of the people here? So there are issues, and if these issues are not looked into squarely, we are not getting any resolve. You might not like my English, you might not like the way I talk, but what I understand is that I try to broaden my explanation so that anybody who is listening can absorb what the true issues are. So these days, even where some of us are not so equipped, but we try to render solutions by saying, one would expect that if the governor wants to put a total eradication to the issues, there should be a community-based development, or will I call it administrative body, that talks about, one, the development, two, the ownership. Because whether you like it or not, if individuals want to sell their family lands, there will be no uniformed road networking that would exist in that community. I know my people. They will say my father owned 1 mile by 2 mile because this was where he did his banga plantation. So therefore, if you are selling your land here, you should not encroach into my land because this land is my own estate. So by that time, access roads will be an issue. Because even in today, if you try to encroach into people's farm where they farm, their aboriginal farms, they will also raise issues. Now, when it is now against family for family or against ownership of land to this, or from community leadership as a body to individualship, there will be issues. There will be issues. So I wouldn't want anybody to begin to whip sentiments. I have started by letting everybody know that this law that the governor has made is a good one, but it's in the wrong approach. The approach that the governor has adopted, not to bring in stakeholders that will also be elements that will respect this law, is very wrong. When you talk about land is the economic potential value of that place, of that society, of that sovereign state. Now, within the sovereign state of Benin, or within the sovereign state of Edo State, this Okaighele ship does not exist in Irua. This Okaighele ship does not exist in Akuku Edo. Okaighele can only be found in Benin. So what that implies is that the governor has made laws for Benin people, whether you like it or not. Even in Uromi, I've gone to do survey and I asked, how do you people say? They say it's a family, that the family must have a meeting. Or most times, if it's not the community, it's per quarter. They do it on a quarter basis. Like in my community, I started by letting you know that I come from 4 quarters. I come from a community that houses 4 quarters, sorry. Now, in that community that has these 4 quarters, there are several things that quarter A will do that quarter B will not do. There are several things that quarter A will respect that quarter B will not respect. So how do you carry on these people when you are not allowing or recognizing their traditional existence in a formulation of law that has to reflect to land? If the governor had consulted the Benin Traditional Council before the suspension of this Okaighele ship, I tell you, the way forward that you will be seeing will be far from what the issue is. So my people, I would not want to join words with people that are sentimental with the issues. Whether you like it or not, this is not an APC affair or a PDP affair. This is a government and the people's affair. So if you are reading politics into this, if you are reading ethnicity into this, we are far from it. We are far from it. So what we must understand as a people is this: that law done by the state government, if not properly reviewed, if not properly looked into, and stakeholders brought on board, you are going to create more problem. And this time around, you saw I was talking to Awilo yesterday, and thank God, whether you like it or not, Awilo is not somebody that is an opposition. He's a member of the government. And guess what? What was Awilo's view? Awilo told you that in most cases that you see that make people to buy gun is because they say this person beat him, he won't shoot him, or this person sell land where he not supposed to sell, we go shoot him, we go kill him. That is the era we are now introducing now, because it is now by the mighty. It is now the sales of land, even in a family, will now be by the mighty. And we know when we say people that are the mighty in our society are those who are courtists, are those who have made money, whether the money they make is clean or dirty, in as much as they have the money to bring out when people are in supportive strength to them and they want to pacify them, they use money. So is there any community today that anybody who has done Okaighele for 4-5 years, a single youth in that community who is not gainfully employed or into a very lucrative business, will say he has more money than the Okaighele? The answer is no. So there are issues that we must look into. There are issues. So for me, I will not want to promote what will further create anarchy or what will further put in developers into more trouble. But what I want to do is to create that consciousness that everybody should know that will solve the problem. I have not said what I've said is right here, but if you are not taking my points to the bank, I bet you there will be issues. And at that point in time when there are issues, if you call me, I will tell you to go and meet the governor who made the law. Because with PPP, I want to tell you what transpired in PPP that made the likes of Pa Solomon Arase, the former IGP of Edo State, to leave. Decisions were being taken in his absence that were not in line with the rules of engagement that was set for members of the panel. We knew what the likes of Chief Osaroida was doing. We knew what the likes of Chief, former local government chairman of Oredo, Obasek, were also doing in the committee. And other persons who were also part and parcel of the committee, some of them were even thinking of how to better themselves through the committee than how to resolve land cases. There are very many resolutions that the committee has resolved that to date, the developers that matter was resolved in their favor because they were oppressed or they were intimidated or their land they grabbed from them. They still cannot access those land. So if you are not looking into the core issues, if you are not looking into those issues that affect the people and thinking of how to resolve them, and you are being sentimental and political about it, you will not gain what your intentions are. And I don't want to believe that the intentions of the governor is to further broaden, duplicate the issues of CDAs into smaller units. It is better when you know that the person who is selling the land is the Okaighele. It's an individual. When you hold him, people can hold him to an address. But when you hold somebody that they don't know, the young man does not have an investment in the community. He's only looking for money to run. There will be problem. There will be problem. You know, some of our youth today that we call diasporans, they are in Europe. Their brothers who are back home, who know that these people are even living a better life than them here, they will want to sell land and travel. So we know all these things. We know all these things. We do not have an administrative land system that talks about due diligence, that talks about respect for ethics, that talks about respect for value. Our land administrative system in this state is very scattered. In fact, it's very porous. Individuals are looking for how to accumulate because they believe that if they don't accumulate, the system cannot cater for them. The system cannot give them any better prospects. So all of these issues, in fact, me who is talking to you here now, it's very complex for me to digest. But if you are an open-minded person and you understand the issues that abide in our society, you agree with me that we are not far from the truth. So my conscious Edo people, banning of Okaighele is not the end to land grabbing in Edo State. Let nobody come and score cheap political points by telling you that they have put a stop. Let nobody come and tell you that, because people that have bought lands from communities, what is the process that you are using from Okaighele? What is the process that you are using to let the communities or the youth know that the issue of land that has been sold before by this Okaighele, most of these lands that are even in dispute, what is the process you are using to tell them that it can no longer exist or it can no longer be business as usual? Is it by just putting a law? What now happens if an individual goes wrong? Okay, in a process where they want to buy land, what do they buy land for? The law should be specific. If the laws in these modern days cannot meet to modern day demand, then we are an issue. Because I know of communities, let me tell you, people argue with me that you go to court. I know of communities where they have started from High Court, Appeal Court, Supreme Court. And to date, the communities who lost from High Court, Appeal Court, Supreme Court is telling those ones that won that they cannot come and claim ownership. And when there are cases reported, the police, you know, our police, they play to the gallery for who wants to pay the highest bidder. The court itself, they will tell you that you have to go and consult a lawyer. A community that have fought a matter from Appeal Court, Supreme Court, High Court, Appeal Court, Supreme Court, and cannot access that property, what hope do you have that the PPP law can make a difference? So, if anybody is coming to whip sentiments on this broadcast, the person should first of all ask himself, are you an intending developer? Have you bought land? Have you built on your land? Are you willing to buy more land? Or your father's land in the village that you are hoping that your children will come and inherit or benefit from for tomorrow's sake? Are you sure that they will be there to even know when that land will be sold and developed upon? So not until when we balance and know what is obtainable, we are still far from resolving the core issues. I have just told you what an Ohe did in Okoromis. It's a public discussion. I have also just told you what an Enoge has been doing. It's also a public discussion. Now in all of this, the governor has come out to further giving an open system, knowing fully well that 90% of the people who are administrating these lands are unenlightened and they are not educationally inclined. So these are the issues. If what the governor has done is in consensus at the day with what Edo people want, that bill would have been the most populous bill that would have ever existed since the creation of, or since the coming to be of Governor Godwin Obaseki's led administration. That bill will further create more problem for us in Edo South. It will further create more problem because it is only those people who can influence judges, those people who can bribe judges. Okay, in fact, let me tell you, there's a case that will be coming up next month, and I'll just give you an insight to that matter, where a female child in a family went and sold an Okaighele. As a Benin man, you know what an Okaighele means. An Okaighele means an ancestral home where your ancestors have been buried. Now, a female child, where there's a first son, where there's a second son, where there's a third son, where there's a fourth son, because they are not around in the country, the female child rose and sold the house. And I'm very happy that the house was sold to a Benin chief. So in coming days, I've been following up the matter. In coming days, I believe the court will be giving a judgment. And I also want people to see what the judgment outcome of that judgment will be, so that it will tell you what will also transpire in other issues. Not until when we decide to sit down as Benin people and address our issue. These laws that are coming left and right will not solve it. Will not solve it. You see a Benin man, only him in one community, he will sell land 10 million this week. Next month he will sell land 30 million. Next month he will sell land 5 million, 6 million. The monies he's using for his personal interest. So for some of you who are trying to correct me on the platform, when you are talking and talking for over an hour, it is not Okaighele, it is called Okaighele. So people must understand that not until when we decide to sit down and speak about these issues, we are going nowhere. We are going nowhere as a people. This thing will continue reoccurring. Do you know how many people that have called me to say, Emmanuel, if you have land to sell for me in Port Harcourt, I prefer to go and buy that land in Port Harcourt and for me to come and build in Benin, because I know once I buy the land is there for me. But if I choose to buy that land in Benin and I leave it where I leave it in Port Harcourt, I will have more issues. So these are what is obtainable. So my conscious Edo people, it will be very wrong of me that we're going to be discussing this issue, and I will not give room for at least one or two persons to call into the program. Even if there will be a robust discussion, I cannot take all the comment section, but I think my admin behind is drawing me to a comment. Let me just quickly paste out the number to call if you want to just contribute briefly, so that people, I cannot say it all because one cannot be everywhere, but let's just paste this number. So that whoever wants to contribute can actually contribute. So my number has been pinned on the screen. If you're watching, the numbers are there: 080-3364-1993. So if you want to call in to make your contributions, you can actually do that. But the truth be said, if anybody is telling you that this law that has been passed will put a stop to land grabbing, it has only created room for duplicity. You know what they call cell? It says cell is the smallest unit of is the small unit of an organ. They have now that organ that the Okaighele they were used to form. They have now duplicated those organs. They have now duplicated those organs, and what will further happen is that those people, like those younger ones like us that want to develop, will continuously face issues. We will continuously face issues. So I believe the Benin Traditional Council should be consulted. The stakeholders as to communities should be consulted, because I do not think a government in control of the local government authorities as to the local government and chieftaincy ministry and commission will be doing what they are currently doing. So for me, as I've just told you, if you want us to If you want to contribute into today's broadcast, if you have something to say, the number to call remains 080 3364 1993. The number to call remains 080 3364 1993. 080 3364 1993. While we're expecting our first callers to call in, we want to believe that the discussion today should be a robust one. And I think somebody just sent me a message also. Okay, let's expect those who are going to be calling in. The number to call still remains 080 3364 1993. We're just going to take 4 calls before we wrap up today's program. 4 calls. Excuse me, please. Our lines are open. We are still expecting callers to call in. Okay, I think we're getting our first caller now. And the numbers out there, you can also reach us on WhatsApp. If you want to call in, if you've been watching, you can also reach us on WhatsApp. If you're also calling, you can also reach us on WhatsApp also on same number. If you intend to call us also, okay? I think we lost the first caller that was calling in. But the truth be said, I think I want to respond to what Mama Titi is just saying here. She's saying, Ima, your own is getting too much. Oh. How is your friend Monkey Face? I used to like you before, but you are one of the enemy of our great kingdom. The end shall tell. What's the meaning of that? Get busy with something. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, my name is Harry. I'm calling from Malaysia.
Okay, Mr. Karim, you're calling from Malaysia. How's Malaysia today?
Malaysia is good, bless God.
Okay, so what's your contribution? A quick one, what's your contribution?
My contribution is this. The problem is when they say community land, how can community land be sold by just some people? All these traditional rulers, they are one of the problems. The government should run community land. That's how it is done abroad. Even if you want to sell your father's land, the government will stick the concept of the whole family. They must put pen to paper. One person cannot just wake up and say, I want to sell my father's land, except if land is owned by you. Because there's no system. The system is not working. That is why a group of people can come up and just sell a land, sell to this, sell to that, sell to this, and then they cause problem everywhere. Start killing each other. Government should be property. When they say community land, because of even if you are the Ojo, you don't have the right to sell that land without the government consent. They should come up with strong mechanism to monitor these things, to put an end to these problems. That is what I have to say. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate my brother. Your name once more before you leave.
Harry.
Harry. Okay, Harry from Malaysia. We
Yeah,
respect you. Thanks
yeah.
for your contribution. So,
Thank you very much.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's our first caller calling in from Malaysia, and you heard what he said. And I am of that opinion. Oh, he said that the administration of land should not be to an individual, and government should manage it. That if government wants to take over a particular land, government should be, be seen to be writing to a particular group or a particular family that would own that property, not an individual. So I don't know if the picture is now becoming clearer as we proceed. So let's take this first WhatsApp caller that is also the second caller for today. Yeah, your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yeah, second.
Yeah, please, you just have to be audible.
Yeah, my name is Jose, calling from Italy.
Okay, Jose, calling from Italy. What's your contribution and what's your take?
Yeah, my contribution about this is that nobody will understand what you are talking about in they have their cake from the oppression that you are trying to fight against in land, the sales of land in Benin. So for me, I think maybe the traditional the people, the organization is faulty about land grabbing. The issue of CFO, there are so many people who also acquire land rightfully, but because of maybe they don't have that huge amount of money to develop or to do whatever that comes up, another person, the highest bid can come up. Just likewise you said, your brokers that the police, the highest bidder have the judge, the justice, So for my own take is that the people responsible for it, the people is bringing law over land issue in Benin, they are the one at fault, because the issue of CFO, the CFO have been going on, and so many people have been the lost side for the CFO, of which they acquired the property rightfully, but due to the circumstance of financial issue, they were not been able to.
But are you aware CFO is cheap now? But the only problem I have with the CFO is that it takes more time, more than what the government is saying, for 90 days.
Yeah,
I actually have
no,
CFOs that have been applied since February until date. This is July. We have not gotten CFO over 90 days. But the government will not
yeah,
say
yeah,
it is not
yeah,
so,
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
but on the
yeah,
issue of
yeah.
funds, the
Yeah,
government has made CFO application very cheap. Go ahead, let me hear you.
okay. So, and another way for me to believe that the CFO is really relevant about the land in Benin is that some people will come up to say this land they acquire it first, and the land, the property belongs to them. That another person went to go and do CFO for the land. So when people come up to cry over it, and then I will see how the government will resolve, or the court or wherever will resolve that issue. That is when I would believe that those things is real. Thank you. That's my contribution.
All right, thank you. So if I got this my brother right, he was trying to make us understand that just like what we are saying, it's not until when somebody is a victim the person will not understand, and that's the gospel truth. Not until when a human being is a victim. I have workers who work in my farm, and not until when they are a victim of when birds are not properly managed and the birds die, and I try to deduct salaries from that their negligence, they will not understand. But once they see the deduction that hits them when the month comes to an end, nobody tells them to do better next month. So not until when you are a victim, you will not understand what I'm saying. Because I have really come to, before when they say Okaighele, I say, okay, let's go and write petition to police. I don't go to police to settle land matter. I don't do that. Because the police in its own will only turn you to a source of a revenue to their pockets. That of their OC, that of their IPO, that of the thick and things within the police. They all collect bribe. They all collect bribe to pervert justice when it has to do with the acquisition of lands. And it's not hidden. If a policeman can come from Abuja to Benin to come and do a land case that an ordinary division can settle, he will come from Benin, his ticket will be paid, even when we know that it's not the police that is funding him, it is individuals. They will come, they will sleep in one of the best hotels. The next day they begin to arrest whoever they want to arrest and say they are from the IG. We are seeing all of these things. It's not a hidden issue. It is what happened. I am a victim, so I can always make testimonies and also point out issues. So it's not something that somebody will tell me. I know it. I have witnessed it, so I can explain and also advise best way out of such a kind of menace in my society. So we are going to take just 2 more callers and we'll wrap up. But basically, my admin has just told me that there are some gray areas we have also not touched. In the course of this broadcast, we cannot say it all. But because of my admin has drawn my attention, I will also be live this evening by 9 p.m. Because this issue, if not properly looked into, will make a jeopardy of our law and will, further reduce the, will I call it the respect or the way of life of our people. So that is where we are now. So we're just going to take 2 more callers. We saw some missed calls while we were discussing earlier. I think we got a missed call from 2 persons. If you want to call in to make your contributions, the time is now. We just have some 5 minutes to round up today's broadcast. But do not forget that I told you we are going to be live much earlier, 10, when I must have settled down from today's work. I'm still at farm and decide to talk more. I said 4 o'clock. I felt I will not be here by now. But since we are still here, we will make our time to discuss extensively. So if you agree with me, you will know that what the government has just done is to create room. I come from a community. If I see that somebody, my cousin, is selling our family lands and he has sold 10 plots, I will go and sell 20 because I don't want to lose out as a stakeholder. By the time I sell 20 and maybe 4 falls into where somebody must have bought 10, you come and tell me that our family land that we both sold, that there's an issue with it, that I should come and die or what. So not until when government wants to totally put a stop. And why government is doing that, there's no way government will not put the traditional institution into play. I have told you, Okaighele are not the only ones selling lands and grabbing lands. What about the Eniges? What about the Ohens? What about the Okaos? What has now happened to the fact that why this law was being amended? In the first instance, when we started celebrating the existence of this law, the traditional council was brought into the picture. Now, there's an amendment to that law. The traditional council is kept out of the picture because, as far as I'm concerned, there's no public hearing, there's no stakeholders meeting that, to the best of my knowledge, is in play. So that is it. Yes, caller, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Uyi. I'm calling from Germany. Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
I want to call in respect of His Excellency Governor Obasek. I see what you are talking about, the Okaighele. Sir, a room was not built today. Let me just make it 1 minute. A room was never built today. At least somebody have to start from somewhere. I see, and I would like to debate with you on live video screen, so that the Edo people in diaspora.
Well. If you want to debate with me, you formally write me, and I'm always open to dialogue. If you want to debate with me, write me formally, and it's not what you should. But you have asked for it in the open. I'm not running from debate. But if you want to debate with me, let me know the terms of debate, and we'll come out and speak on it.
The terms of the debate, I know you are a human rights activist. I know what you stand for, and you are not a politician. But I want to debate with you based on the disbandment of the government law on the Okaighele. I see you are talking that it's not extended to the Enugis, and these are the areas that are things that are affecting our these are something that we have to debate on. And I would like to write you so that we can fix a time. I would like to debate on you.
All right. Write me so that we can take other callers. Write me and we'll
Thank you very much.
we'll make it a subject of discussion. Thank you. Yeah. So if you're there, we're going to take just one more last caller. I want people that want to talk. If you are a victim and you have been a victim of this Okaighele, I felt some of you will be here, but maybe it's because of the timing also. I think I'll be out much later to further elaborate on this. I was wanting to be in a quiet place, but even at now, people are still all over me. You've seen the sort of movement. Even as I try to regulate it, it still cannot work. So I'll be in a more quiet place within the hours of 9 o'clock, and I'll be coming out live where there are no distractions. Because my admin has just told me that there have been some, misinterpretation of our position as to this discussion, particularly with the submission. But I know my stance are very clear that this disbandment is good, but it's not the good approach. The approach to it is not right. And also, the issue that border on the way forward is also what we are going to be looking into. That's what we are going to be looking into. So once again, without wasting much of our time, we want to call it a day for today's broadcast. And we also want to try to make it an open discussion. Please, if you want to join me, please ensure you
read my comments. I will call you not connect anyway, sha. You like one of the enemy of the
I want to get across to you. So many people have been calling, trying to send messages. But for now, I want to say bye for now, and I'll get back to you. But please, if you're watching, please watch out for our broadcast by 9 o'clock. Please watch out for our broadcast by 9 o'clock. At this junction, I want to say thank you for those of you who have been standing here, and I want to appeal to you that if you can do us a favor by sharing the broadcast, we would deeply appreciate. Once again, I want to say thank you and bye for now.
Now we don't hear from Emmanuel Agbogun. Let us know what you think for comment section. If you never subscribe to Dan ARG YouTube, try make you subscribe so that make you for the hear all the things where they happen for Nigeria. Make I leave you now with this video, make you help us share them. Thank you for watching Dan ARG YouTube.